Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. And as you can see, we're taking a break from the GL1000 Goldwing restoration today because the stator that was sent off for a rewind for the 400 Dream is back. So we're going to take a look at what they've done to it, refitting it on the bike, and then as the weather is particularly sunny, cold but sunny today, hopefully I can get out for a test ride if it fixes the problem. And the other reason that I want to go out for a test ride on this is because I've got some new heated gloves and I want to give those a run out and try those as well. So before we do anything else, let's go unpack and take a look at this stator. So here we go, back from Rex's Speed Shop. Before I go any further, I've got no affiliation with Rex's Speed Shop. They don't sponsor me. I didn't get any discount. The only reason I used them was because they advertise in the Vintage Japanese Motorcycle magazine, and also they've been recommended to me by the people that have used them. So I have to say their service was very professional. It took quite a while to get this back from them, but they did do it within the time scale they said. So I'll put you up on the tripod and we'll take a closer look. So the story with this is I went to start the bike, bike wouldn't start, no spark at all. Started to diagnose various bits and pieces. It's all documented on another video, which you can go and watch. I think I might have done a how-to on it, can't quite remember. But basically I diagnosed that the low speed coil, which I think is that one, might be that one, but I think it's that one, was open circuit. And that's the most common fault on these apparently. So I got a quote from Rex's Speed Shop, I sent it off to them, and they wrote back quite quickly saying I diagnosed it correctly. It was the low speed coil, but the rest of the stator was in pretty poor condition, and really the whole thing, most of these other coils were out of specification, and the whole thing really just needed refurbishing from scratch. So I asked them to do that, and yeah, this is what they've done. So really the only thing they haven't touched is this pickup, and apparently the pickup bench tested perfectly okay, so they haven't had to do anything with that. But as you can see, all of these other coils, including the main pickups, low speed, high speed, etc., they've all been done. Yeah, I mean, they've made a cracking job of that. Obviously this is all new cabling, all of this is new sheathing, this is all new wires. You can specify, I think it's this cable, some of these have to have, on some bikes they have bullet connectors on. You specify whether you want this type of connector or bullet connectors on, and they'll do that for you as well. And obviously they haven't just cleaned these up, these are all new. So we've got brand new connectors, brand new cabling, brand new windings, and they've cleaned up the whole base and metal part of the whole thing as well. So on the face of it, I'm really pleased with that. They've also sent back a sheet which I'll try and put up on the screen with all the specifications of all these coils as well. They guarantee this for a year as long as you fit it properly. What they mean by that is that when this is bolted back onto the bike, these coils aren't banging against anything, they're not hitting anything, which would cause further damage. So yeah, guaranteed for a year as well, so can't say further than that. So next thing to do is take the covers off the bike and get this back on. I seem to remember I only put this all back together loosely just to keep all the parts together. Little tip, what I like to do is with gear levers, that sort of thing, just put a little bit of red felt tip or pen on there, and then the same on the spline, so that I know when I put this back on I can get it back into place, my preferred location, just saves messing around later. So I just put it back in place, the 3 screws that hold the stator on, and the 2 screws that hold the pickup on. So I need to get the side panel off so I can expose the cabling, the wiring, and the connectors, and then we can put the stator back on. Just remember that this is keyed into the crankshaft, so that key there is basically what locates the rotor in the correct position on the shaft. So just make sure you don't lose that. This one is actually quite stiff in there, so I'm not going to disturb it. There's no point taking it out because it's just makes it more difficult to get it back in afterwards. But yeah, just bear that in mind. Okay, so this goes on this way round. Get this on like that. And the 3 screws drop into those holes. It's lined up. One in. Let them slip on the others. Only a lot, just a little bit on the end. 2. 3rd one. Right, before we do those up tight, let's see if we can just sort this cabling out. So this costs just over £250 to get rewound, and I could have gone and bought a second-hand one from eBay, of course, or somewhere else, but of course I've got no idea whether it would work, or how long it would work for. It was a known fault on these, and the Dream as well. They used to go, I think somebody I know who's used to work for Honda UK, I think he's possibly in there, something to do with their returns department or warranty department for a while. Reckon they changed pretty much all of these on early CB400s and 400 Dreams, Super Dreams, etc. Right, so that's all cleaned up. That grommet, which is important to keep all of this waterproof, sits in there, and then this pickup, that's all cleaned up, sits in. It's got 2 shoulders on the back of it, and they just sit in 2 location holes like so. And then there's 2 more screws which you can just put on and slip on, which go in like so. That's those in. I think they were suggesting that this Stator was actually original, so maybe this one never was changed under warranty. So if that's the case, it's done all right. Try and tighten them as evenly as we can. These sorts of screws do tend to be notoriously tight when you come to undo them, whether that's because they're tightened up very well in the factory, or whether it's just because they rarely get taken out, I don't know. But it's surprising as you go round each one, it pulls it in a bit more, just how tight you can get these. Again, we're just being a little bit careful because they are going into the casing, so we want to be a little bit careful. We'll end up in a whole world of pain if we end up stripping one of these. But the point of this is we want to try to get this nice and flat to the casting, so that it's not, you know, at an angle. It's sitting where it's supposed to sit. Let's just. The rotor itself looks pretty okay. I mean, it is rusty on the outside. It's obviously had a life. Somebody's bearing a right old go at it here. Either that or it's come loose and it's been banging against the inside of the case or something, I don't know. But yeah, it's I think at some point what hasn't helped with this is this gasket around here is pretty poor. Half of it's on this face, half of it's on the cover. I haven't got a gasket. I will need to get one because I don't want a reoccurrence of this problem with all the moisture and everything getting in here. But for now, for testing purposes, we'll put this back together as it is and I'll order a new gasket. They're easy enough to obtain. So that all looks fine to me. There's not a lot to say about this. It's just got some permanent magnets all the way around the outside. They all look pretty clean. They do actually look like they may have been cleaned up before at some point. So we'll go with that. So don't forget we've got this keyway in here, which we've got to line up with the slot in this. So let's get that on. Of course the magnets are going to try and pull this in. Okay, there's a bit of muck I think in the keyway on here, which hopefully I've now cleared. Let's try that again. Got light on the scene now. There we go. Straight on. Okay, so there is a little bit of play on that key, but obviously that'll be taken up with the bolt when we've got this back in. So I think it would probably be prudent just to put a drop of Loctite, blue Loctite on there. Before we do that up, I need to look at what the torque of that is as well. So I'm going in for a bit of Loctite on there. Dugga dugga. And then 70 to 90 pounds-foot torque on there. Okay, so what I've done now is I've put this into gear because when I'm turning this to try and torque it, of course the engine is just turning. So I've put it into top gear, and then I'm just using a socket extension which I'm putting between the teeth on the front sprocket and the chain, just to lock that in place while I do this up. Okay, so that's that side of it all done. The cable then routes around here through a slot in the casing, and there's another grommet which sits in there to make this part of it waterproof. And then from what I remember with the cabling, it went underneath this bracket, this clip here, and then the wiring was basically sort of up behind this plate, and the large connector is connected on the back of that one. This one comes up I think around the front and plugs on there. This blue and white one, this is interesting because I do have bullet connectors. I was talking about this earlier, and they give you the choice of bullet connectors or this connector. Now, I don't see why I would have asked for that connector when I've got bullet connectors on there. So either they've made a mistake or I didn't ask for the right thing. I can't honestly tell you which, but that's easily rectified. I've got some connectors, so I'm going to have to chop this one off, unfortunately, which is a shame, and do something with these. That should be easy enough to do. Right, because I've had to cut that, where is it, other connector off, this one, which was a shame. I've used one of these. Never used one of these before. They purport to be waterproof. Somebody bought me these as a Christmas present, I think, off eBay or something. Basically it came as, I'll show you the box. So you get this box with all these different connectors in, and you get these little yellow grommets and all the metal connectors which go in the connectors, and basically they're just crimp connectors. So you crimp these on, you put the yellow bits on the connector first, on the wire first, then you crimp this on, then you push that into whichever one of these you're using. So there's some of these, so you've got 4 wires, 3 wires, 2 wires, and a single one somewhere as well. And then you push the whole of that into there, and they click in place, you can hear them, and then eventually you pull that down the wire, push that down the wire, and it should make it waterproof. It says waterproof car electrical connector kit, made of Chinesium, but you know, we'll see how we go. There are literally no instructions on this, none on the bottom of the box, nothing whatsoever. So whether it's made a good connection or not, right at the moment, I have no idea. But the next thing to do is just check everything over and then see if we can start the bike up. Switch is in the run position. Oh, hang on. Okay, we've got something there. That sounded like it was only running on one to me. But we definitely had something. Right, it's time to open the garage doors and see if we can get it fired up properly. Okay, well, I am happy with that. That connector does seem to have worked okay. I've just pulled all the wires, trying to provoke it into causing a problem which it doesn't seem to be doing. So I think the next thing to do, it did seem to be ticking over high and it was completely off choke. So I wonder whether that is just something to do with this rewound stator. This did have a bit of a flat spot, hesitation, probably as it came off the low power coil onto the high one maybe. So yeah, I'd be interested to get out on the road and see what it actually does. So I'm going to put this back together now, bolt it all back up, and go and have some lunch, and then we'll go out for a test drive.